All right, cyber traders, welcome on back here this Friday afternoon, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. Welcome on back here for our afternoon meeting. Let's get a quick sound check just to begin. Make sure everyone can hear me loud and clear. My apologies first and foremost for all of us on social media, Facebook Live and YouTube. We ran into a small technical issue yesterday as to where we weren't able to get the meeting up in time. So I apologize for all of you guys there, but should be good to go now. Great to see all of us inside the trading room. Mike, Debbie, Tony, Amy, Gary, Leda, Gene, the money-making machine right there as well. Perfect. All right. And for all of us on social media, welcome on back. Should be able to hear me. I know that you can see me at least. So nonetheless, should be good to go. I'm going to copy and paste some news just to begin. We're going to start with this PPSI stock. And the news I actually posted for us inside the trading room right before I started. You could scroll up on the chat board for that. But Pioneer Power Solutions, PPSI shares trading higher, or at least they were, after the company announced a conclusive settlement with Myers Powers Products. I don't really know much about Myers, but I don't think we really need to know about Myers in order to trade this stock. So, at least as far as what happened going into the market open for a stock that was up, 40, 50+% or so, as much as this was and still is, at least at 9:30, I'm expecting a pullback. And if it pops right out of the gate, well, guess what? It's going to pull back. So it ended up kind of, making that pop and drop. Fortunately, it didn't totally dump off, right? So it ended up kind of coiling back up underneath pre-market resistance 525. And when it rebroke it, well, it led to that spike up. So, for what it's worth, it was actually, a decent pop and run, but very short-lived, right? So, we didn't really keep our eyes on this trade too long after that, ended up diving off. I wanted to start with this for the afternoon meeting, and actually just turning back to it over the last 5 or so minutes, we can obviously see a false breakout over 6. And then now the push back down here. We came to this like right before 2:30 when the afternoon meeting started. So it was well after that pop and drop as to when we turned back to it. But at this point right now, it's pretty much what I always say. If it's not making that second big move up, I would only expect for it to go one other way, especially after that false breakout. So, for right now, PPSI not really looking that great for the afternoon at this stage. All right, so for right now, we'll move on to some other stocks that we ended up actually doing a lot better on than just this. So Riot, RIOT, I'd obviously talk about Riot today, making another push up once again. So at least more so going into the early afternoon, we started trading this. Upon the market open, this wasn't really on our radar as much. I mean, it was on our side list, don't get me wrong, but we were following some other stocks first. We'll get to those in a moment too. But at least more going into the early afternoon. Honestly, it's repeating itself day after day at this point, run after run. So we ended up seeing Riot re-break above its opening bell print roughly around that 940 and broke above 950 from there shortly after. Ended up making the run, right? So nonetheless, Bitcoin, I didn't even take a look at recently over the last 45 minutes to an hour. Looks like it's maybe back over 19,000 by a thread. Just goes to show, once again, this is the second day in a row as to where we're seeing Riot make a stronger run in its trend compared to what Bitcoin's doing. Usually it's been the other way around as to where Riot moves up when Bitcoin makes a sharper move up, or, perhaps with the markets altogether. But nonetheless, another strong showing from Riot Blockchain. I didn't check in with Mara as much, Marathon, because this one's the better opportunity in my opinion. Both are cheap. You could load up on even more shares, I guess, for Mara. But yeah, I mean, look at this. This one is just really not moving as well. So I guess this is kind of making more of that same move that Bitcoin's kind of making. But Riot, man, this ended up making a nice push, at least going into the mid-afternoon, 2 o'clock. My stance on it as far as an afternoon move, right? It normally doesn't run going into the afternoon, or going into the close, rather. We've seen it make these little, jumps, 20, 15 cents here or there. I say that from this point forward, from 2:30 p.m. Eastern time onward, usually. For what it's worth now, it pulled back down. It's moving off that 1060 high. So for the meantime, I guess we'll kind of keep this on the sideline too. Maybe just, if it looks good, if you folks want me to check it out one more time after, then let me know. But ended up making a big move again from the market open, popped, and then more so here. All right, what else do we have? Oh, that's right. So alongside the Riot trade here, PPSI we talked about. All together, I just wanted to post this. It looks like there was some news out with the cannabis stocks, the pot stocks. Looks like some news out with the U.S. House vote for the marijuana decriminalization passes. The vote is now off to the Senate, right? So that's pretty interesting. Seems like pretty good news if you're bullish on any of the pot stocks. Well, ACB, Aurora Cannabis, was one of the stocks I was most interested in watching myself. I don't think it made like the CTU main list, but very volatile, very active stock, and with hopes of it passing, you'd hope to see it make a very strong run up. But nonetheless, after the market opened, we saw a better opportunity on this trade, more going into like 10 o'clock. It broke under support from around like 11:35, 11:40, and once it spiked right back over it, we ended up doing really well. About like 4 or 5 of us inside the trading room. We ended up doing pretty well on this trade from 11:40, 11:50 at the least, on the way up towards just about 12. But nonetheless, I mean, the news came out. I thought it was right here around 12:30, 1 p.m. Eastern time. So it ended up popping, and then just out of nowhere, I mean, just drastic sell-off. So I find that to be pretty odd, right? I mean, you see the headline, you'd figure they would just run up, but maybe it was factored in. Maybe the price was factored in, as they say, right? So at this point now, getting a bit of a pullback, can't really short these stocks as much. So, we'll keep these in mind going forward, of course, just with the news out or with the headlines out and hopeful news to come out later on. These will definitely look to make a move, and more so than anything up. But, for right now, a big drop off, at least here. All right. Really, otherwise, another one, and this was more on the way down. This was a good short, probably one of my personal better trades today. American Airlines. So, not doing a whole lot right now for a typical Friday afternoon, but nonetheless, American Airlines. After the market opened up and the stock ended up popping up, we did so well on this trade on the way up today. I wanted to go over this because in pre-market, we ended up seeing a lot of sell-off. On time and sales, you would see a lot of red on the tape beginning from right around 1665, 1675, and 80,000 share print. Well, from that point, after the squeeze up within the first 5-10 minutes, well, guess where it came back down to, and back down underneath. So it ended up re-breaking those same levels. I ended up jumping in short. Took a little while to get the gears going, but once it re-broke 1665, ended up dropping this down towards just about 1640, 1625 here. I wanted a lot more, actually. I had support of 16, just never really came close to that price, but yeah, for right now, I mean, American Airlines pretty flat. Just a better trend from the pre-market. Ended up continuing that trend after the open. All right, so what we'll do, folks, is quickly go from top to bottom. I shouldn't really say as much quickly, but I want to make sure that we have enough time to prep, line up, get ready to go for the final hour here. So we will start actually number 3 here on the gainers list. The HGSH trade. The news out on this. Whoops, pardon me there. The news out on this, I thought I didn't see any news to begin, but maybe they did post after. No, at 10:23 Eastern time, what Benzinga Pro posted. No company specific news out there. So nonetheless, I'm not a big fan of that, right? We talked about that actually just yesterday. For anyone on social media, I don't think that you're able to get that, unfortunately. But nonetheless, the same thing happened, right? I mean, after the market opened up, yes, it did squeeze up. I didn't trade this myself. A few of us went in and out, and I hope that you folks did good. At the least, I hope you didn't hold on, because normally for one of these pump and dump low float runners in pre-market, it was already dumping off going into the open. So it did run up, but once it re-broke down below those same levels, almost like AAL, look at where it is now. So, if you were able to short that is, I mean, I don't think that we can. So nonetheless, this HGSH trade, it was hopeful to run up higher. It did, but a very short-lived trade. The volume died off, and so did the stock. All right, what is this? STPK. Got a bunch of these on the gainers list, like warrants and different class stocks. I don't know, another acquisition company or transition company. Energy stock, Star Peak. Ended up making a huge move today. Spreads seem to be somewhat contained right now, but don't let that fool you. It could open up extremely fast, extremely quick, the spread, that is. It is inching up slowly here, though. So, you know what? I'll put it on our main list for right now. I would rather have stocks that have even more liquidity on the book, tighter spreads perhaps. But yeah, all-time highs, I don't know, new IPO. I'm not really too familiar with the stock. Oh, whoops. You see these all these stocks are throwing me off here. Okay, so that was like number 5 here at least. So we'll kind of go from this point forward. PPSI we talked about. Unfortunately, that was on the way down from where we last left off with it, but Laser, new IPO, I think, right? A couple of our traders in our room did really well on this trade on the swing and on the day here. Picking up like $4 per share. For what it's worth right now, it looks like it already made a big move, trading 58 million shares at this point. So I feel like it's pretty exhausted. Just the last few days running up. Ooh, this AQB looks really good, though. AQB breaking higher, right away upon the market open from yesterday and pushing up to 850 right now. So you could even see right now 19,000 shares on the offer at 850. Yeah, a lot of buying coming in off that price. Got to make sure that level breaks and we see continuous volume over that price getting filled. So, yeah, for what it's worth, this AQB looking like probably like near the top or at the top, by the end of it all. All right, cool. So this one looks pretty good. STRO, not looking too good. All right. Looks like some of these shipper stocks, these shipping tanker stocks, so to say, SHIP, pushing up pretty nicely. I'm going to jump right through the rest of them and go right to tops. TOPS up just about 25%. Yeah, this is pushing up pretty nicely here too. Listen, we've been teased in the past by these stocks, these shipping stocks. Just I'll even show it. Just the number is a bit inflated based on reverse splits over the years, but back in like 2015, 2016 it was. Oh, maybe it was 17. I think it was this day, but this stock wasn't $90,000, $100,000. This was all like factoring in reverse stock splits, but this stock was like a 80-cent stock, moved up to like $8, $9. There was another stock, Dries, DRYS, that's now delisted. It has been for a while, but history has a tendency to repeat itself. So for these like low float stocks, we're not trying to hold on to them, and we're not really like looking to trade them. But when we see a stock like this, pardon me, at the highs of the day right now, we would only hope to see continuation for the final hour. So, you know what? SHIP, it's a cheapie. We'll put it on our list. Tops, it's a cheapie too. We'll put it on our list. All right. Let's keep it going. Looking pretty good, though, for right now. CPE. Ooh, pretty interesting run up from earlier today. The stock seems to have a tight spread. Volume is there on the book. Trading about 15, 20,000 shares per minute. And my favorite part of this, it is shortable. So if it goes the other way, then we'll be there to try and capitalize. But yeah, CPE will add to our list here too. LPI, this one's looking pretty good also, at least more so in terms of the chart. I'm trading a lot less volume per minute. I'm going to pass on it for right now. Just see what else we have. Icon was a big bust, at least after the market opened up. Good pre-market push, but after that died off. MAC from this week, MACK, ended up doing really well for us. I think it was like Tuesday, Wednesday. Wednesday it was. Popped and ran. Broke higher today, of course, as you could see. Just right now died off. Listen, it's a Friday. I know Fausto already did his, thing on this already, but it's a Friday. There's not much out there. There's not as much, company-related news coming out on Mondays or Fridays out there. There's no earnings out there here for us after the bell. I think I had like one stock on my calendar for this morning. I'm not really forcing anything out there right now. So we have a decent list already. I'd really be content just finishing up right now, but we'll keep going and see if there's, just as good opportunities otherwise. But that is just where I say, if there's nothing that falls in your lap, and if you're not like seeing anything that really you're drooling over, chomping at the bit to get into, it's just not worth it. It did well from the morning. Finally, like the last couple of days have been so wonky, like up and down, and just the market hasn't given us as much just for the trades that we've been looking at. And today, finally, we had some good opportunities. So, if you ended up making your days pay or more at this point, again, stay on board with us, but just let it fall in your lap. Don't try and force anything out there. Even the CRTX here, down 19+%. It is shortable at the lows of the day. All of that piques my interest. I would normally put this stock on our list, but the spread's all over the place here. Just very spaced out orders on the bid and the ask. Yeah, Fausto here with one share at 38.37. I joke around when I say that for all of our students here. You'll always hear Fausto say, and rightfully so, just hey, give it one share. Just give it one share. Just give it a real test in the live market. One or two shares. That's it. This might be Fausto here. All right. So, just with that in mind, we'll see if there's anything that has more volume on the book. YEXT, same thing, I'd say. Semi. In comparison, this definitely fits the bill, but not really going much of anywhere, so it's a shame. All right, let's see. Big Lots. This was the one stock I had on my earnings calendar going into this morning, the one stock. And for what it's worth, you know, it's actually making that same type of drop off at the low of the day. It looks really flat, but it's right there, right? So, you know, the spreads seem to be a bit more contained. There seems to be just a little bit more volume on the book. You do see an order on the bid holding it up as support off the low of the day, 47.50. You know, it's not like 10, 20,000 shares, but you know, that's a critical support that you'd like to look at. So, you know, for any of our level 4 or 5 traders, I'd only say this too, but you know, I'll put Big Lots on our list for you folks there. But for any of our newly enrolled students, I would much rather you look at like tops, much rather you look at like CPE, perhaps even AQB. That's on the top of our list still at this point. I wrote down. All right, that's just about it. I mean, hey, you'd figure you'd find more on the gainer side with the markets, you know, and all of the major indices pushing up, right? Take a look at Tor. Not much going on there. All right, folks, if there's anything else up, down, left, right, more than like 5%, let me know. Actually got from YouTube right away. Got from P Trader here, Lyft and Uber. Nice move up today. Absolutely. I wanted to note that actually. So Lyft pushing up over 6%, falls right in that category. I want to zoom out on the daily chart here really fast. I forgot what the all-time high was on this. I think this one has a ways to go. Uber, on the other hand, I know Uber, on the other hand, was breaking all-time highs this week and still pushing up there right now. So Uber, I definitely am going to put on our list there. You know, maybe I could just put both on, but I'm just going to put Uber on just given the fact that this is like running up to the all-time high and making a big push. All right, so definitely good call on this. What else do we have, though? That's all I got from YouTube here. Got nothing really else from the trading room, I will say. No other call-outs that I see, at least. You know, rightfully so, though. There's not much else that's really making a strong push. I'm going to look on Benzinga Pro really fast. And my signals page is all busted. It's broken. I don't know if it's like on them or on me, but yeah, not much else that I really see that rings a bell. Did I look at PSTG from Leda? Let's see. Probably popping during the middle of this meeting. Up over 8%. You know, obviously at the highs of the day right now, so that all checks out. Pushing up with the market pretty well here. Whoops, whoa, we do not want to do that. Geez, that would be brutal. All right. Not all-time highs. This thing has a ways to go. But, you know, of course, like 52-week highs, it seems like pushing up pretty nicely. I don't mind slipping this on our list. You might have a lot that looks like this. So if you folks have a lot more that looks, you know, we have to try and filter it out at that point. But, you know, hey, if there's a lot of opportunity, we'll try and take advantage of the best looking ones. And, you know, for what it's worth, this looks really good. PLG Pop from Norman. This one's up 23%, pretty cheap, and the spread seemed to be contained. Good liquidity on the book. You know, if I'm kind of picking one over the other, Leda, I hate to say it, I'm going to pick this PLG for right now. That PSTG, though, looks really good. I don't want to discredit you there, but you know, PLG up more, you know, cheaper. You know, it could potentially make that second big breakout since it's right near the highs right now. So definitely good call on this. From Mike, I'm sorry, I saw from Mike just before. I'm sorry, going from bottom to top there, Mike. Oxy. Yeah, Oxy, I would kind of slip on there too, kind of for the same reasons. Oxy is breaking a new high, kind of same thing as PSTG. This one, though, we are very familiar with. We ended up trading the stock going back into the pandemic, the crash, huge gap at the time. It ended up making like a virtual full gap fill, but ended up making a nice push today, right? You know what's funny? We saw this actually. If you go back on the afternoon meeting, it might have been tomorrow, so I don't know if you can go back on social media. We had some tech error yesterday, but we had the warrants up. Like Oxy.W is up on the gainers list and like weirdly up. I was wondering why, and just at least I don't know why. It's, you know, it looks like all these oil stocks are making the push right now from the OPEC meeting, so that could be the reason. But yeah, Oxy right now continuing its run up from yesterday where we saw it, and yeah, for right now we'll put this on our main list. Then from Dave here, Saber. And I do see Saber pop up now on Benzinga Pro. It's on my signals page here now. It's working. Saber up 3%. It is breaking highs, just like we said. Yeah, not a whole lot going. I mean, well, there is stuff going on there. Don't get me wrong, but that's kind of where I say alongside like that PSTG, if I'm kind of being more selective at this point, because we have a decent sized list. We have 2, 4, 6, now 8, 9 stocks now with the Oxy. So it's not to say we don't really have anything to look at or choose from, right? So that's where I personally have to be more selective. So this is where I will say to finish up, I would start and stick with this list here that I'm about to push out to you folks. But otherwise, if there's nothing that meets your eye from this list, or hey, maybe after 5 or 10 minutes from right now, if nothing from our list in 5 or 10 minutes from right now is moving, then from that point, look at Saber, look at PSTG and so forth, all of these others otherwise that you may not have looked at just yet, but they might be pushing up with the major indices right now, right? So with the whole market up, there could be a lot moving upward, right? So like Debbie's saying, FCEL. It's just like a grinder of a trade. I would be more biased towards FCEL here if it wasn't as like choppy up and down, up and down. I mean, it's moving up, of course, across the day, but it's not really making like that type of like volatile move that we would hope to see. It's been so good to us in that regard, Debbie, over the last 2 weeks. So I'm even going to keep FCEL off our list for that reason alone. But it's at the highs; it's moving up nicely in that regard. So if you do well on FCEL and you consistently make money on it, I should say, then maybe you keep it on your radar, keep it on your personal watch list. I like the way Oxy's moving a bit more. I like the way Tops was moving a bit more, AQB and so forth. So that's where I like to kind of like categorize one over another. That's all. All right, folks. So for right now, for all of us on social media, make sure that you like, subscribe, notify right on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/cybertradingu. For all of us inside the trading room here, I'm going to jump onto a coaching call myself in just a moment. I'll be back on at 3:30 Eastern time, taking us into the market close. Take care.